mindfulness. Yeah. This is the Lisa Baxter Show, giving you the 411 in the kidney one. My girl, and say, this is. Whoa, who's that coughing? Coronavirus. No. Oh, that's me coughing. Get out of here, Corona. I said, get out. Get out of here, coronavirus. Get on out of here. I said, get out of here. I'm not playing with you. Get out of here. Get out of here, coronavirus. The blood of Jesus against you. I'm praying against you. I don't want to have to make a phone call, because if I do, you know I'm going to call. She's so wonderful. She loves God. She got strength. She got power. I ain't mad at her, because her name is Lisa. This is the Lisa Baxter Show, giving you the 411 in the kidney world. Hey, everybody. How you feel and how are you doing? I hope you're doing wonderful this evening. Curl up. Come on up and watch the Lisa Baxter Show. I have a fantabulous guest tonight, and I just want you to enjoy it, learn something from it. You know, sometimes out here, we got a lot of unsung heroes and heroes that's under a rock. But you just got people out there doing wonderful and great things and nobody know. And sometimes they people from the community, people even in your own family. So you'd be surprised who that wonderful hero is. So I know you are one. So you're next to be on my show, but I'm going to introduce her right now. She's sweet, she's young, she's smart, she's intelligent. Okay, she is a senior legislative policy analyst for New York City Council, for the New York City Council, focusing on the elderly and the aging. Is that the elderly? Okay, you know my handwriting. The elderly and the aging, and she was a second and third grade teacher. Her name is Kalima Johnson. Hey, girl, welcome, Kalima. Come on, honey. How are you?
Thank you so much, Lisa, for that warm introduction. I'm an education policy analyst, education and aging policy analyst.
Okay, I didn't know what that E was that I wrote. You know, I never could understand my handwriting, and these are not my reading glasses. How about that? You know, but thank you for that correction. Thank you for just coming on the show, being on the show, and it's nice to have some new blood. How about that? Yeah. Even if it's my own, how about that too? You know, so now wait a minute. Now, okay, we're gonna start out about what you do. What do you do for a living? Tell the people out there so they get the picture of what you do for a living.
So thank you so much, Lisa. I have two jobs. I have my day job and I have my night job. During the day, I'm a senior legislative policy analyst working on education policy. So as a former teacher, I have experience being inside of the classroom. But as an education policy analyst working for Speaker Kalima Johnson, we have oversight of the Department of Education. So a lot of my work is centered on like watching the whole education system, looking at data, asking questions, looking for gap areas where I can work with elected officials to pass legislation to make sure our education system is running properly. But I also have, like you said, our senior citizens, our aging community in my portfolio. So I'm also looking at policies now that impact our seniors. Specifically now is the coronavirus. I'm looking into that and trying to stay uphold of like what's happening to make sure that that population is protected. But it's geared on like looking at a whole system and seeing like what's happening, what are the gaps, what are some policies we can do as a city to make things run smoother. Oh, and then at nighttime, I have my own, I think I told you a little bit about this probably, but I'm running a traveling company, Bonding Experiences, where I'm curating dope Black professionals for a trip. We're supposed to go to Ghana this summer. We have our tickets, but I'm not too sure given the environment. Yeah. But I also have like, I host wine nights and things like that for friends to have fun and network with one another.
Wow. So you do two beautiful, stressful jobs, but they have great outcomes because you're working with the educated, the aging, the young, and you're dealing with policies. How hard or how is it to deal with those policies? Tell me about how you deal with the policy exactly, what you have to do.
Yeah, so I think, it's my day-to-day life at work professionally is like, I do a lot of reading, I do a lot of research, because I work for Kalima Johnson, the second most powerful person in New York City. And wow. I have to stay, and so it's the mayor, then it's the legislative branch, which is the councils, and we're making sure everything's running smoother. But like, I have to, upload on like what's happening in our education system, what's happening with our senior citizens, because you have, Kalima Johnson goes on a bunch of interviews. He was just on CNN the other day. His Twitter, so everything that like, that comes out from the speaker's office, that's education, almost like, I have to look at that, offer my analysis on a team and provide guidance on like what is his position is going to be. It's really, stressful because, there's not room for mistakes. When that is not happening, I do have like, we have oversight hearings where we have, sometimes the chancellor come in, or someone from, that's the Department of Education chancellor come in, he'll sit on a panel, and we'll have the elected officials, the council members, ask questions of the city administration, and I'm in charge of preparing those questions that they ask, preparing their opening statement, doing research and reports, developing a strategy to figure out like, what do we want to get out of it? So there's a lot of moving parts in my job, but like the fun part is like the project aspect. So a few years ago, I had an opportunity to accomplish something huge. So a few years ago, we have the State of the City address. I don't know if every year we have this, we have the State of the State, the State of the Union, and, and at the city in the city, we have the State of the City, where the speaker announces their top priorities and where we want to invest for our city for the upcoming year. So it's a huge deal. So this was under our last speaker, Melissa Mark-Favorito. I developed, proposals on culturally responsive education, because like I believe that students not only should see themselves reflected in the curriculum and see teachers who look like them, but they should be thinking critically about society, right? Like we should be talking about social justice inside of the classroom. We should be talking about racism. We should be talking about classism. We should be encouraging kindergartners to force the difficult conversations and, to grapple with certain things. And I feel like, growing up in Brownsville, that, we were learning about the Civil War, the Revolutionary War, but like the wars in my community wasn't addressed, right? So there was always a connection. So it was like, how do we bring social justice to the classroom? So I had an opportunity to pitch a pilot proposal to the council. It was $500,000 where I wanted it to be I wanted my position, it was hundreds of them, being like hundreds of proposals that went into the system. I submitted mine, and I was like, we need to start investing in culturally responsive education, and we need to start giving teachers training I'm sorry, that my mom is calling. We need to also.
Wow, you on call, huh? I ain't mad at you.
Oh, that's my mom. I'm gonna put my phone on airplane mode. I'm sorry about that. So I was like, we need to, and it's not going. Sorry about that. It's not. She's not. So so I'm like, okay, we need to also be pushing our teachers. And she keeps calling. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Put it on mute.
I don't know how to do this. Okay, I'm gonna turn my phone off.
What? I ain't mad at you. Shut it off for a little bit. Don't worry, boo. It's a 30-minute show. I'll be finished with you. I was trying to get your mama on the phone for a while. I guess you got her. At least somebody got her.
It comes to my computer. Like when she calls, it comes to my computer.
But, that's right. That's what we're dealing with now.
So it's not
I ain't mad at you.
I turned it off. But I had an opportunity to write those proposals, to train teachers how to talk about race and racism inside of the classroom, and also to invest in culturally responsive education for our students so that they could see themselves reflected. and in their books and their curriculum, but also that they can be social justice oriented. That those proposals got picked up out of hundreds by the speaker Melissa Mark-Viverito, and in 2015 she announced that as a top priority for the city's education system. So that was $500,000, and I was like, wow, what an amazing thing that like this started with my sweat, my tears, me staying up to 4 a.m, pushing this through in this vision.
Yes.
Yeah. The next year, the mayor and the chancellor put in $24 million, expanding the proposals that I worked on. And I'm like, whoa, like,
Oh, man, I ain't mad at you. Beautiful.
So you have an opportunity to work, because I work for public officials, like they obviously get the credit for, things that the ideas, but it just feels good to be behind the scenes sometimes and your fruits, see your seeds sprout and become flowers.
Oh yes. You don't know who have to come along to add that water. You know what I'm saying? You did your seeds, you did your work, and bam, boof, it started sprouting up. You know what I mean? It's nothing like seeing that flower bed of things, coming to fruition.
Yeah.
So I'm proud of you, and congratulations on that. That couldn't have been an easy thing, and it's a blessing to be picked, or to be picked from so many people, and to have them invest so much money, so that's excellent. This is what I'm talking about. I want a young person out there to see this so they know they can make it. Yeah. And I want somebody, even if somebody was sick or had a disability, they can still do something and see that somebody's out here fighting for them, for their education, or for even when they become elderly or a senior or get older. So they can know that. I mean, I went to Albany a couple of times to talk about people with disabilities and stuff, and that wasn't an easy thing. That stuff take all day standing, marching. So whether people was in canes, wheelchairs, walkers, because they was determined. And I see you have determination all up in there. You know what I'm saying? So, and that's what sometimes it takes something to drive it all the way there. Bam, you hit it in the nail. So listen. All right. So how hard was it to write proposals? Did you learn that in school, or you took a class, a workshop, or you just was gifted already with writing proposals?
So I actually learned, like in college, and also like before I started working for the council, I worked for the Senate as a college student for a little bit. So I had an opportunity to participate in mock legislation, where I wrote actually my own form of legislation. For mock legislation, advocated. So I had experience with writing proposals, but I think, like you said, like nothing happens. Like sometimes it's easy to say, like, I did that, but nothing happens without community. And I had just like a wonderful mentor supporting me and guiding me and giving me feedback and telling me you could do better, do it better, and pushing me. And I have, friends who help develop my critical consciousness. So it's been a lot of support, to help me do this type of work. And I still get
teamwork. It takes teamwork to make the dream work. My Archbishop Rochford always say, it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. And you're doing that, and your team is doing that, and the people and the ones that trained you, and at least the people listen to you. Sometimes legislators and assemblymen don't always listen to people or the public. So you got their ear. You got to say everything in their ear while you're in there. Just whisper it all in there. I say it.
Yes, I always say this, Lisa, because I think, like, my job is really intimidating. And when I first started working there, I remember like waking up, telling myself, you are beautiful, you are smart, you belong to be at the table. And I can't explain how many times Brownsville comes up at the table. Brownsville and Eastern York and the Bronx, because we're disenfranchised communities. So it comes up, and I'm like, I'm almost always the only Black woman at the table. I'm almost always I'm the only person, the majority of the time, who come from a low income background. So it's like, for me, I tell myself, like, you're worthy, you deserve to be here. I got to a point where I realized, my self-worth, my confidence is on point. So I have to make sure, like, I'm at the table, I'm authentically at the table, right? Like, so I'm also making sure that I'm bringing who I am. What does it mean to be Kalima? What does it mean to be from Brownsville to the table I'm sitting at? And then the third, which was a battle, and you still have to grapple with, is you have to make sure you're respected at the table. Because a lot of times people see you as a Black young woman, or they see you as someone from Brown, and they try to undermine you. So like I have to make sure that I'm respected, and I have to, make sure it's sustained and people aren't like talking over me or undermining me. But that is a challenge, but that's a challenge that I take on, because we're talking about communities I come from. So
yes. Well, I'm glad because you said that, because I mean, I remember when I had low self-esteem and I couldn't talk to nobody without looking at their shoes when I spoke and I speak. And now my mouth is so big and so loud, and I will get in anybody's face about what I think is right or what I need to do, respectfully. You know what I mean? I do what, do the chain of command stuff and whatever it takes to get the point across when it comes to kidney disease, resourceful for being a social worker for 24 years. So my hat off to you, because you young with it. You know what I mean? And you young and starting with it. So I love that. And my hats off to all the young people out there. You know what I mean? What was one of your hardest cases that you had to, or anything that you had to talk about dealing with the elderly or the youth, you would say?
Yeah. For me, I consider myself, a storyteller, and I think about, when I come into a space, especially policy, I'm thinking about like, what's a way that I can tell my story to resonate with people and to get people to move, right? To be motivational. So, one of the challenges, like I actually came into the council from like through an organizing lens. So like Lisa, you said like you went to Albany a few times, and organizers, we know how to tell our story. So I story about like, me being a 16-year-old who woke up to 9 guns, federal detectives at my bedroom door during the drug raid that happened, right, when I was 16. And
yes, I remember that. Shando Koroboshia. Yeah.
Really eloquent way of telling my story and expressing how, like, I remember being in a jail cell with my mom and hearing my community members protest against my unjust arrest, right? They used to say, like, I was the highest academically performing student in my high school. I was one of the only students on the Community Education Council, and I was in jail, right? So then you start to see that, like, being a top-notch education student didn't mean anything to the criminal justice system, right?
No, they don't. Boom, right? Yeah.
There was drugs in my house. That would have been thank God, because that would have been probably the end of it for all of the things I've achieved. And, for me, like, as an educator, and I speak more about education than aging, because it's like, my passion. But like, for me, as an educator, people say like that criminal justice system was horrible. For me, the trauma kicked in when I went back to school, and I went to a school system that had more police personnel than social work guidance counselors combined. So I had no one to talk to about the trauma. Then I went to a school where they did random searches, where, police personnel would want to search me for, drugs or whatever, because we have a lot of metal detectors in our school communities. So imagine getting out of jail and having to go back to a school system that saw you as a criminal, right? I don't know. I have no idea why I was able to focus, stick it through, and follow up. But like, for me, the complicated question that I'm always asked is, how come you made it, Kalima? Why can't other people from your community, why can't they pull themselves up by the bootstrap? And I always say, I can't answer. If I had the secret formula, we will all be out. But like, that's not underscore the trials and the tribulations that like our systems put in place to keep us down, right? Because any given moment, everything could have been taken away. And I'm constantly in spaces where we're talking about Black and brown people from low income neighborhoods, and people like to use me as an example, which I get it. But at the same time, it's like, we need to start changing. That's why I'm in a game of changing systems, because we need to start changing systems. We need to have an honest conversation about like, why are our systems, including the education system, so oppressive to Black and brown people? So that's
very educated and smart people. And sometimes, we're a real diamond out there. You know what I'm saying? We're a real pearl. And if you don't shine us up or let us out there, you'll never know how illuminating we can really be. So they need to know, and they need to learn, and keep on marching, keep on talking and staying,
Yes. And that's another thing that, scares me too about, because I think a lot about systems in my daily spirit. So even like when we think about the coronavirus, like I'm afraid of the coronavirus because people are losing their lives and our healthcare system isn't there. But I'm really afraid of like what's the aftermath? Like what is it going to look like if we graduate or we finish with this and we have an economic crisis, and I have my brothers and my cousins who are unable to find employment, who had jobs in construction. People will do whatever they need to do to feed their family, and I am afraid that the system won't be able to offer them people opportunities to eat, and some people make wrong decisions, but like we've seen people fighting over tissue, during
we were talking about that earlier, me, you, and Jared Brown.
Yes. So imagine being poor and not having a job, and not being able to feed your family. What measures would you go through to feed your family? And I think about that, especially dealing with the arrest because of decisions my family made. I think about I don't want my family. I don't want anyone to have to go back to making bad decisions or tough decisions.
Yeah.
Like, how can we change the system so that even like a capitalist system to not be oppressive, to offer everyone opportunities. Yeah.
Well, out here now, a lot of stuff is going on, and out here, a lot of dialysis centers are still open. So people that have chronic kidney disease or that's on dialysis still got to go out there. Yeah. So a lot of them are afraid and scared. I was doing something for the state and ESRD to find out what questions would they ask or want to ask about this, coronavirus, because some of them were scared it was at the center or they wasn't getting enough protection and things of that nature. So people are afraid all the way around, whether you elderly or got a illness or you just got an illness, period. You're going to be a person with no illness and still be frightened or scared. But I was on dialysis 12 years. I got a transplant. That's more high risk. Having polycystic kidney disease made me be a higher risk as well. You know what I mean? So, do you know anything about anything about dialysis or kidney disease? Because our Aunt Lean was on dialysis. Many of my sisters and brothers were on dialysis. I had 6 siblings on dialysis, 2 aunts, an uncle, and my mother-in-law. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, so I know a little bit about it. I know that some folks have gotten kidney transplant. I actually know someone who had, but besides my family, who had to undergo one of those. I know I think it cleans out your system, and when the dialysis process is the process of doing things that your kidney would normally do, of cleaning out the salt and the waste from your kidneys.
That's right, waste, impurity.
Yeah. So I also I don't know too much, but I know that even the life expectancy is really low for folks who have dialysis. Yeah. It's particularly vulnerable during this time of the coronavirus crisis.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that you know something about it, because it's very important that that young people would know something about dialysis. This is National Kidney Month, so I try to throw it out there. I know some of my family are sick of me with all of my texts. I text dialysis stuff, kidney stuff, transplant stuff, and Jesus stuff. So if you ain't gonna get nothing else from me, you're gonna get all that and then some. You know what I mean? But because I want them to be educated, because if this knocks on your door or comes to your house, you're going to want to know how to deal with it. Just like they need to know how to deal with coronavirus or any other virus or any other epidemic or any other issue out there. You know what I mean? So, so you have to learn something about it. Well, I don't care if you just had a cold or asthma, you need to know and learn something about whatever illness you're dealing with, or as a caregiver, what the person's dealing with, or even as a family. You know what I mean? But with the business and everything that you had, do you have any websites anybody can go to for any of these arguments and fights and things that you are doing?
Yeah, so actually for my wine company and my traveling company, I have a website. It's called bonding-experience.com. And you can click away to see some of the offerings. Our offerings are really catered to young professionals, but we do have, if folks are looking to learn a little bit more about policies or government or education, they could feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn at my name, Kalima Johnson, and I would be happy to connect with folks.
I love that. I like that. Yeah. Give them a chance to learn and know so they can learn how to fight. Maybe they want to go on those footsteps or some other footsteps, but sometimes you just need a start or a chance or an opportunity. And what you're doing, that's an opportunity for them or anybody that wants to. I'm sure any age can do this, right?
Yeah, anyone who wants to reach out to me to connect about anything, I'm always happy to connect with people who, if you want help with your resume or practice with the interview or me to read over your college essay or me to read over whatever you want. I consider myself a community-minded person. So and also I'm always willing to help. So feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn or Facebook. But LinkedIn is preferred. For anything. If you want to get involved with the wine nights and, the bonding experiences, feel free to reach out to check out the website. I do, have some dope people in my network. That's what we say, dope people, to come around. I love connecting people. So, yes.
Yeah. Blessed Kidney Connections is my company, and I love connecting people with the things that they need. That's why I called it that. You know what I mean? It's a blessing to be connected to the right people. I ain't mad at you, Now, if you had to say something to the girls or the people in the projects that you want to help, because they give them an opportunity or a chance to get out of there, what would you say to encourage them to do the same thing that you did or any other thing to help them to get out?
Yeah, I think, wow, that's a tough one. I think, first I would say, it's not just about getting out. I believe in coming back and changing your communities, right? So I
like that.
I was fed the same thing of, work hard so you can get out this nightmarish community. But let's rechange that narrative and say let's work hard, get an education, come back and implement changes that you want to see there. So there was I definitely moved to Harlem and I graduated college, but I moved back to Brooklyn. I go home every week, not now during the coronavirus, but I go home as much as I can because there's no way I can do this work without being connected to my community. There's no way I can advocate and push for certain policies if I'm not going home to the hood or to the neighborhood and really connect them with folks. So I think my advice is to connect, connect to your aunts, your uncles, your friends, your family members, find connections with professionals or whatever, like myself or others, find mentors, connect. No connection is too small, too minimal, or too large for you. And I think that I am where I am because I was able to connect with my teachers, after school, during school, lunch, I was with them. I was a teacher's pet. I was connecting with my family members, trying to build relationships. And right now I'm just connecting because it's these connections that help us grow, help us learn ourselves, and help guide the way to other opportunities. So please connect with me and you can start there and I can talk to you about connecting.
Wow. Well, that's all right. I ain't mad at you. You ain't never lied. Now, if you could give a shout out to anybody. And before that, if there's anything that we missed talking about or saying or something that you want to say or bring up or show, I don't know if you got anything, you feel free.
Yeah. So I do want to give a shout out, of course, to my mom. She called during the call. But I think that, my mom has created, we all have certain privileges, right? And for me, my privilege is my mom. She has, there were times where I went underground to study or to work really hard, and my mom has always sent me frozen food and helped sent me tissue and did a lot of logistical things, helped do my laundry, sent someone to pick up my laundry. So I think nothing that I could have achieved could have happened without my mom continued support. And push, but support, simple things I'm just really grateful for. I'm trying to think that there wasn't really much that we missed, Lisa, but I'm happy to answer any questions. I do want to encourage people to stay indoors for the coronavirus.
Well, that's good. That's wonderful. I'm glad ain't nobody like your mama. I always love my mama. I know that's right. So, I'm glad you're doing what you're doing. You know what I mean? I want you to keep doing what you're doing. And like, I'll even say there's nothing wrong with being in the projects or growing up in the projects or any other community. The thing is, you want to learn from it and you want to help it to change to make it better. So nobody's better than nobody, but we can all make change. And it's all our chance, our opportunity, and our little and big responsibilities to make the change. So, but I do thank you, my love, for coming on, being on, shining bright, and doing your thing. So keep it up. I'm proud of you. I know your parents are and our whole family. So I love you. And I'm going to end the show because there's another show after. And that's it.
I love you too, Aunt Lisa. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so grateful for your prayers and you keeping us all informed. This has been a pleasure.
Anytime, my love. Anytime. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. I tell you, you guys heard it, right? Through the bloodline. Yes, you have heard it. So you guys be careful out there. One of the things I did hear is that at the dialysis centers, when they're going in, they're taking their temperature. Not only if they're taking a temperature, if somebody had the virus, I was told that they would come at a different time, be isolated into a different part so they can be able to take care of them and be able to take care of the other population as well. Because I know those were some of the eyebrows that was raised with some of the dialysis patients and some of the people, and even the transplant patients were wondering about going to their appointments and stuff. So I just want to keep encouraging you. You can't just keep watching this stuff because it'll drive you crazy, but learn something with it and from it, and then put on something fun, do something with your family, pray or something like that, play some board games or something else, because I know it's hard to just be in the house. Thank God you don't got cabin fever. I used to get that. But anyway, I love you. God bless you. Stay healthy, strong, and wise. This is your girl, Lisa Baxter, giving you the 411. Take care of your kidneys, and they will take care of you. Mwah. Good night. Y'all ready for this? Yeah. This is the Lisa Baxter Show, giving you the 411 and the kidney one. My girl, and say, this is